Jamaica's anti-corruption unit just got a new boss, and the opposition says he's just an accountant. But here's the plot twist. This one appointment could determine how deep the corruption probe into the Prime Minister really goes. By the end of this video, you will know why this one move could shake Jamaica's political foundation to its core. FID takeover or JLP cover-up? Let's break it down. Meet Dennis Chung, 35 years of experience, a bachelor's and master's in accounting from UWI, Justice of the Peace, served under both JLP and PNP. So when the Ministry of Finance announced Dennis Chung as the new Chief Technical Director of the Financial Investigations Division, it seemed like a regular promotion. That is until Mark Golding stepped in and lit the fire. He's just an accountant, no experience in law enforcement, no forensic training, unqualified. That was the opposition leader's reaction. Not in a press release, not in a quiet statement, but on a mic in central Kingston in front of comrades. But here's the twist. Is Dennis Chung just an accountant or a political Trojan horse? Let's hear your unfiltered opinion down below. This isn't just about credentials. This is about control of the anti-corruption narrative. The FID is one of the key agencies asked to review the Prime Minister's statutory declarations. Yes, those same declarations linked to 28 bank accounts. And guess who made a public statement downplaying the PM's accounts? Dennis Chung. Before his appointment, he said there's nothing unusual about having 28 bank accounts. It's common in investment strategies worldwide. Now the PNP is using that very statement as proof that Chung cannot lead the FID independently. They even called an emergency press conference to lay out their case, highlighting apparent bias, lack of transparency, threats to good governance. They had the full cast: Golding, Dayton Campbell, Julian Robinson, and Peter Bunting. That's not a press briefing. That's a political Avengers ensemble. Who do you think is more dangerous to Jamaica's anti-corruption fight? The appointee or the people defending him? Drop your take in the comments. My expert analysis, what they're not telling you. Now let's break this down like a political expert. 1. The FID role isn't investigative alone. Chung's role is technical director, not field investigator. Think data analyst, not detective. 2. Conflict of perception versus reality. The PNP admits we're not saying he's biased, but he looks biased. So it's a war of optics, not actual corruption. 3. Dennis Chung has worked with both parties. In 2015, under the PNP's Simpson-Miller government, he was appointed to head NSWMA. So is he a political pawn or just good at what he does? 4. The real battle is narrative control. The FID's work will influence public trust in the system, and right now the opposition wants to plant seeds of doubt. Bottom line, this isn't about Dennis Chung. It's about who gets to lead the corruption conversation in Jamaica. Is this appointment a smart move or a serious misstep? I'm curious to hear what the Jamaican people really think. The political plot thickens. Let's connect some dots. The Integrity Commission is under fire. PM Holness still under scrutiny. The FID was asked to review the Prime Minister's case, and now a critic of that investigation is placed at the top of the FID. Intentional coincidence or a strategic chess move by the ruling party? Meanwhile, Dennis Chung remains cool. Let my work speak for itself. But in Jamaican politics, silence speaks just as loud. So, is Dennis Chung a qualified reformer or a political puppet? So, is the PNP overreacting, or are they onto something big? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to understand what's really going on. And if you think this story is wild, wait until you hear what's happening with the Integrity Commission's report on the Prime Minister. Here's a summary of the highlights and the key points. Dennis Chung appointed Chief Technical Director of FID. Mark Golding and PNP says he's underqualified and potentially biased. Chung previously defended the PM's 28 bank accounts publicly. FID is reviewing parts of the Integrity Commission's probe into the Prime Minister. Chung says he let his work speak and denies any conflict. PNP outlines concerns over transparency, perception, and governance. This is a battle over public trust and narrative control. So, make we hear what Marky G have to say, because shots were fired. So, listen up.
Comrades, I hope that Jamaican civil society, I hope that the churches, I hope that the private sector groups, I hope that the trade union movement, and I hope that well-thinking Jamaicans draw a line in the sand on this one. Because if this is allowed to stand, Jamaica future dark, and our corner dark as Jamaican people. Comrades, Jamaica needs the cleansing stream of a government in whom the people can have trust and confidence. I intend to lead a government. I intend to lead a government with a high standard of integrity from all of those who serve. We know that what we're seeing is an attempt to ensure a particular outcome of an investigation. And the person who has been put in charge of it is somebody who's compromised because they've already indicated publicly that they have prejudged the situation and have a view favorable to the government and the Prime Minister. The FID investigates financial crimes. The person in charge must be somebody with experience in that. The person who they've appointed is just an accountant, has no forensic experience, no law enforcement experience, no anti-money laundering experience. It is inappropriate in every way.
Real talk, is Mark Golding making a valid point or just playing politics? Let's debate below. Marky G just made several valid points because Dennis Chung have no experience in investigating financial crimes, no anti-money laundering experience, no forensic experience, and even more importantly, no law enforcement experience like his predecessor who Chung is replacing. So now we are going to hear what Dennis Chung have to say about his newly appointed promotion at the Financial Investigations Division, FID, emphasis on the investigation.
As I said, I don't want to comment on that. Similarly like when I was going to JFF, I don't comment on those things. The fact is that I have to be cognizant of what is happening and let the work speak. Similar comments were made when I was going to NSW too. So I just let the work speak, but I can't comment on that. I'd have to have that discussion first with the minister. I've seen it, but I don't want to comment on that. Those are discussions I have to have with the minister who I report to. But I wouldn't want to comment on that, to be honest with you.
So So based off of what Dennis Chung just said, this position is a government appointed position because him just say him have to report to the minister where he fall under. So this is not an independent position. So that is something where everybody need to pay keen and close attention to. He said it, not me.
I have to go in and we'll do the work and see what happens, but the structure, the FID is what first is to understand also, where there are independent divisions in there. So I really don't want to comment on that, to be honest with you. Those are things that I have to reserve. My comments on the FID must be coming out of discussion with the minister who I refer to.
Wait, what? Report 2. Now, the announcement was break by the Ministry of Finance about Dennis Chung's appointment to the FID. So, I don't know if that's the minister where I talk about or I refer to.
It's an appointment that, I'm pleased with. I did do what I needed to do at the JFF, and I would have stated that case already. And I was asked to look at the FID position, which I did, and I was successful. I think that there's a lot to be done. Certainly the FID is a very important institution in Jamaica because it needs to ensure that there is an elimination, which is what we want to do, of financial crimes in the country. Certainly, no economy can operate effectively and efficiently if that is not stamped out, and that is what the focus will be, of course, to ensure that the credibility of Jamaica is maintained when it comes to the financial system.
So Dennis Chung is replacing Selvin Hay. So Selvin Hay was Deputy Commissioner of Police, DCP. So when Marky G has said this man have no investigative experience, that when I say actually cool weight and have merit, because you have a chartered accountant like a Dennis Chung replacing a Deputy Commissioner of Police. Selvin Hay was also Inspector General of the JCF. So while this man was the Inspector of Constabulary, he was dedicated to pursuing anti-corruption efforts as well as institutionalize professional standards in the force. So he was in the JCF combating corruption and misconduct. That's a far cry from a chartered accountant like a Dennis Chung. So, uno go do uno research on Selvin Hay, the man where Dennis Chung are replaced. So that is what Marky G mean when he said this man have no investigative experience. Some are Golding no wrong with what he say. And to add insult to injury, after the Integrity Commission and the FID was probing into the PM's financials, this man come out and say, well, nothing wrong with the PM having 28 bank accounts. Now this man I go be the head of the FID. Where did I go through wholeness financials as well, based on the recommendation from the Integrity Commission to the FID to further investigate the financial matters. This no look good. This don't look good on the JLP. So now Chung I go report to the Ministry of Finance. Alright. Now, I just recently, we see Warmington and Edmund Bartlett come up with the idea, say, the Integrity Commission need an Inspector General as a oversight fi watch the Integrity Commission. So, them a try create an Inspector General fi be a watchdog watching the watchdog. And now them pull a stunt like this fi appoint the man was say nothing wrong with the PM having 28 bank account. This don't look good on the JLP, none at all. Like seriously, at them appoint him, is the government appoint Dennis Chung, They could have appoint anybody else, but they appoint a chartered accountant. You have to give him one position where he underqualified for in real life. He is not qualified for that position. Currently, Dennis Chung serves on the boards of the ODPEM, Wigton Wind Farm Limited and GK Capital Management Limited, and all of which he will demit prior to his June 2nd start date. So you hear the board where the man depend? This man is fit and suited for corporate Jamaica. Not a position like this at the FID. Not even remotely close. This man is not qualified for that position at the FID. Given the person who holds the current position, we are going to leave office now.
Whoever the chief director, the technical director of the FID is, must be somebody who's not perceived as having any particular political affiliation or bias. And we feel strongly that the appointment of Dennis Chung is itself an act which will further the corruption in the country, because he is somebody who has already publicly stated positions in relation to the matters that the FID ought to be investigating, which are strongly in favor of the Prime Minister and which seek to undermine or belittle the impact and importance of the findings that the Integrity Commission has made on the matters that they investigated as set out in the report they sent to Parliament.
Should someone who defended wholeness be in charge of investigating financial crimes? Yes or no? And tell us why. So make we hear what the leader of opposition business in the upper house, Peter Bunting, have to say.
And I invite you to look at previous chief technical directors, persons like Selvin Hay, Justin Felice, Alvin Small, all very senior detectives with distinguished careers in criminal investigations and intelligence gathering, and specifically anti-corruption and financial crimes. Ladies and gentlemen, by comparison, Dennis Chung is a weak and unsuitable candidate for this post.
Enter General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell, who says if Mr. Chung is not removed within 72 hours, actions will be taken across the entire country. Now, make we hear what Dayton Campbell have to say. Listen up.
Corruption is rampant. It is almost palpable in the society, and we will not accept it. The time has come. Enough is enough. The people of Jamaica need to be given an opportunity to decide if they want to continue with this level of corruption in high places, or if they want to return decency to Jamaica House. And as of such, we are giving this government 72 hours to rescind this appointment. And if they do not rescind it, there will be actions all over Jamaica.
If Dennis Chung's job is to investigate the same government he publicly supported, can he really be unbiased? Let's hear it in the comments. The opposition People's National Party PNP has issued a 72-hour ultimatum for the withdrawal of the appointment of Dennis Chung as Chief Technical Director of the Financial Investigations Division, FID. The PNP issued the ultimatum at a press conference. The party says his public utterances and perceived lack of required competencies disqualify him from the position. Prominent chartered accountant and former private sector organization of Jamaica Chief Executive Officer Dennis Chung is coming under fire for his appointment to head the Financial Investigations Division, FID. Opposition leader Mark Golding says his public utterances about the probe into Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness's statutory declaration regarding allegations of illicit enrichment disqualified him from the appointment. Shots fired. You see me? Yeah, Marky G and Dayton Campbell and Peter Bunting, them no stop fire shot after this new appointment by the government. we all know say the JLP will not comply or cave under no pressure. As a matter of fact, them now go bow to no social or political pressure that is being applied by the PNP. We know the JLP now go comply with no requests and demand with the 72-hour ultimatum where the PNP are try give the government to reverse the appointment of Chung as FID head. Knowing the JLP, them now go do that. So now I am curious to see the next course of action where the PNP are going to take when the JLP not do what they say. So stay tuned, because trust me, there's a lot more drama and political controversy if it come from all of this. One word to describe this appointment. I'll go first. Controversial. Now your turn. Let's hear it.